You step onto the casino floor and the air changes instantly. The lights shimmer. The music pulses. The machines glow like they are alive. Your heart picks up its pace before you even touch a button. That is not an accident. That is design, perfectly calculated, perfectly engineered, perfectly aimed at your emotions. As ex-dealers, we watched it happen every night. Players walked in feeling confident, calm, clear-minded. Then 10 minutes later, their entire mood shifted. They were excited, then frustrated, then hopeful, then desperate. All without realizing the room itself was controlling the rhythm of their emotions. Most people think they get emotional because they win or lose, but the real truth is much deeper. Casinos use sound. They use color. They use movement. They use subtle psychological triggers built into every corner of the floor. These triggers change the way you think long before you ever press spin. Tonight you are going to see the same casino you have known for years in a completely new way. You are going to see how the environment shapes your choices, how design manipulates your reactions, how emotion quietly takes control long before you notice the shift, and how you can break free from it. Here's my question for you before we go any further. Have you ever walked into a casino feeling one way and walked out feeling completely different without knowing why? Most players believe emotions come from winning or losing. They think the machine decides how they feel. They think their reactions are natural. But ex-dealers know something completely different. Your emotions do not just happen in a casino. They are shaped, guided, triggered, long before the outcome of any spin. Players always told us the same thing. They blamed their mood on a bad session. They blamed their excitement on a lucky streak. They blamed their frustration on losing a bonus by one symbol. But what they never understood is that the casino sets the emotional stage before the gameplay even begins. I remember watching a regular walk-in every Friday night. He always entered with the same calm expression. Hands in pockets. Slow steps, relaxed posture. But as soon as he walked past the ringing machines and flashing screens, his shoulders would tense. His breathing would change. His focus would tighten like he was stepping into a different world. He had not pressed a button yet. He had not spent $1. But emotionally, he was already shifting. Because the environment had already started working on him. This is the part most players never see. They think their choices are their own. They think their reactions are natural. But the truth is that casinos set emotional traps using the space itself. And unless you know what you are stepping into, you will feel everything they want you to feel. So tell me this. Have you ever caught yourself feeling excited or anxious before you even started playing? The first emotional trap starts before the game even begins. It happens when players walk toward a machine and make their very first mistake. They choose a machine based on how it looks and how it makes them feel instead of how it actually works. Casinos understand this perfectly. They know players are drawn to bright screens. They know players love loud celebrations. They know players gravitate toward machines that make them feel alive before a single spin. So the casino uses this. They design machines to trigger emotional attachment instantly. Players fall for this because the human brain reacts to excitement faster than logic. Before you think, you feel. Before you judge, you react. Before you understand the odds, your emotions have already picked the machine for you. I saw this play out every single shift. A newcomer would walk in. Their eyes would widen at the machine with exploding graphics. The sound would hit them. The color would hit them. The animations would hit them. And right there they would sit. Not because the game was smart. Not because the math was fair. But because the machine made them feel something first. Here is the simple casino logic behind it. A machine that excites you instantly keeps you playing longer. A machine that keeps you playing longer earns the casino more money. A machine that earns the casino more money becomes the spotlight of the floor. It is emotional engineering disguised as entertainment. Smart players avoid this trap by doing something simple. They choose a machine based on its behavior, not its appearance. They watch it for a minute, they check the pay structure. They judge the machine quietly before letting it influence their emotions. So here's your insider move. Let your mind pick the machine, not your feelings. Stand back, observe, do not let the lights choose for you. If you walk to a machine because it makes your heart beat faster, that is the first sign that emotion has already taken control. The second psychological trap is far more dangerous than excitement. It is frustration. It is the emotional slide that begins quietly, then takes over everything you do. Frustration shows up slowly at first, a few dead spins. A bonus that pays almost nothing. A near miss that feels unfair. A machine that suddenly turns cold. None of these moments are dramatic on their own. But together they create a shift. A tightening in your chest. A burning in your mind. A feeling that you need to win something back. As ex-dealers, we recognized this shift instantly. It was easy to see. The player's shoulders dropped. Their jaw clenched. Their finger hovered over the spin button longer than usual. Their posture leaned in like they were trying to force the machine to cooperate. They were no longer playing. They were reacting. They were no longer thinking. They were trying to repair a feeling. The casino does not need to punish frustrated players. Frustration punishes them for free. It makes decisions sloppy. It speeds up spins. It removes patience. It replaces logic with emotion. And once frustration takes over, the casino no longer needs an advantage. The player gives it away voluntarily. But insiders know the early warning signs. When frustration appears, your breathing changes. Your body tightens. Your decisions feel rushed. You stop enjoying the experience. You start chasing an outcome. This is the moment smart players break the cycle. They use a simple rule, the 60-second reset. If frustration appears even slightly, they step away from the machine for 1 minute. They get a drink. They stretch. They walk around the floor. They let the emotional storm pass before it becomes a disaster. Most players do not realize that the best wins come from a clear mind, not a tense one. A calm player notices patterns. A frustrated player forces outcomes that never existed. So here is your reflection question. Have you ever kept spinning even when you knew you were no longer thinking clearly? The first major psychological trap inside any casino is emotional momentum. It starts small, a tiny spark, a tiny shift in your body. And before you notice it, your decisions begin changing without your permission. This happens the moment a player gets their first hit of excitement. It could be a small win. It could be a bonus tease. It could be a loud machine next to them. It could even be the energy of the crowd. Whatever the source, that first emotional jolt flips a switch inside your mind. As ex-dealers, we saw this all the time. A player would sit completely relaxed. Calm posture. Slow breathing. Neutral face. Then one near miss would happen. Their eyebrows would lift. Their eyes would widen. Their breathing would tighten. Their body leaned forward automatically. Right there, the trap had begun. This is how emotional momentum works. The brain loves excitement. It craves stimulation. When the machine gives a taste of energy, the brain responds with hope. Then anticipation. Then impatience. Then need. And the player starts chasing the next emotional hit instead of chasing smart decisions. The casino does not need you to win. It only needs you to feel. Because once you start feeling more than thinking, the casino has already nudged you into its rhythm. You start spinning faster. You stop observing the machine. You stop watching your bankroll. Your emotions begin steering the wheel. But smart players use a simple, disciplined technique to break this trap. When they feel the first emotional shift, they pause. Not for long. Just long enough for the brain to reset. One deep breath. One moment of stillness. One reminder that the machine is not leading the session. They are. This pause is small but powerful. It breaks the emotional momentum before it grows. It restores control before the casino takes it. It resets the mind before the environment overwhelms it. So here is your insider reminder. If your heart speeds up, if your hands get tighter, if your body leans forward on its own, that is the first warning that emotion is taking over. A single pause can save your entire session. The second psychological trap is far more dangerous than excitement. It is frustration. It is the emotional slide that begins quietly, then takes over everything you do. Frustration shows up slowly at first, a few dead spins. A bonus that pays almost nothing. A near miss that feels unfair. A machine that suddenly turns cold. None of these moments are dramatic on their own. But together they create a shift. A tightening in your chest. A burning in your mind. A feeling that you need to win something back. As ex-dealers, we recognized this shift instantly. It was easy to see. The player's shoulders dropped. Their jaw clenched. Their finger hovered over the spin button longer than usual. Their posture leaned in like they were trying to force the machine to cooperate. They were no longer playing. They were reacting. They were no longer thinking. They were trying to repair a feeling. The casino does not need to punish frustrated players. Frustration punishes them for free. It makes decisions sloppy, it speeds up spins, it removes patience. It replaces logic with emotion. And once frustration takes over, the casino no longer needs an advantage. The player gives it away voluntarily. But insiders know the early warning signs. When frustration appears, your breathing changes. Your body tightens. Your decisions feel rushed. You stop enjoying the experience. You start chasing an outcome. This is the moment smart players break the cycle. They use a simple rule: the 60-second reset. If frustration appears even slightly, they step away from the machine for 1 minute. They get a drink. They stretch. They walk around the floor. They let the emotional storm pass before it becomes a disaster. Most players do not realize that the best wins come from a clear mind, not a tense one. A calm player notices patterns. A frustrated player forces outcomes that never existed. So here is your reflection question. Have you ever kept spinning even when you knew you were no longer thinking clearly? The next trap is not emotional. It is mental. It comes from myths players repeat for years without ever questioning them. These myths shape emotions. They shape decisions. They shape behavior. And they quietly drain bankrolls every single day. Ex-dealers heard these myths non-stop. At the tables, at the machines, in the hallways. Players believed them because they felt true. But none of them survived the truth of how slots actually work. Myth 1. The machine is due. Players think a long losing streak means a win is coming. They think a machine that has not paid must pay soon. But every spin is selected by a random number generator that resets instantly. It does not remember the last spin. It does not care about the previous 100 spins. It does not track wins or losses. It selects a new outcome every time. It is like flipping a coin that forgets every flip the moment it lands. Myth 2. A machine gets hot after a big win. Players see someone hit a jackpot. Then they rush to sit down, thinking lightning will strike twice. But the truth is simple. A machine that paid big is not special. It is not lucky. It is not heating up. It is just random. The win happened because the number generator stopped on the right combination at the right moment. Nothing more. Nothing less. Myth 3. Pressing the button at the right time affects the result. Players tap the button faster, harder, slower, trying to control their fate. But the outcome is locked in the moment the button is touched. The reels you see are just decoration. The result is already decided before the animation even begins. Tapping harder does not change the number that was chosen. Here is a simple way to understand it. Imagine thousands of envelopes flying past your face every second. You tap the button and grab one at random. The moment you grab it, the result is fixed. Everything else is just the envelope opening. These myths feel powerful because they activate emotion. They give players a sense of control. They give hope. They create excitement, but they are illusions. So here's your confession question. What myth did you believe before learning how the machines really work? The next emotional trigger hides inside your bet size. Most players do not realize that the amount they bet affects their emotions more than the outcome of the spin. A small bet feels safe, a big bet feels dangerous. A changing bet feels reckless. And the casino counts on these emotional reactions to guide your decisions. The truth is simple. Betting without a system is the fastest way to lose control. Your emotions rise and fall with every change you make. A bigger bet raises your heartbeat. A smaller bet frustrates you. A sudden jump in bet size creates tension in your chest. All of these reactions make you vulnerable to emotional decisions instead of smart ones. Here is what ex-dealers noticed. Players almost always raise their bet when they are excited. They raise it again when they chase a loss. Then they lower it when they feel scared. Then they raise it again when they get impatient. Their bet size becomes a reflection of their emotions instead of a reflection of their strategy. Smart players do the opposite. Their bet size never changes based on emotion. It only changes based on math. They follow one simple rule, the 2% system. Never bet more than 2% of your total bankroll on a single spin. Here is what this looks like in real numbers. If a player walks in with $100, their smart bet is $2 per spin. If they walk in with $50, their smart bet is $1 per spin. If they walk in with $200, their smart bet is $4 per spin. This system protects your bankroll. But more importantly, it protects your emotions. It keeps you calm. It keeps you steady. It keeps you disciplined no matter what the machine throws at you. Here is a quick demonstration. Imagine you walk in with $100. You start betting $2 per spin. With average volatility, you can survive 50 spins without panic. You have time to think. You have time to observe. You have time to reset if needed. But if you raise your bet to $5 because you feel hopeful or unlucky, your session shrinks instantly. You burn through your bankroll faster. Your emotions tighten. Your reaction times speed up. Your decisions become emotional instead of logical. The 2% rule does not just stretch your bankroll. It stabilizes your mind. It neutralizes the emotional swings that casinos rely on. So here's your challenge question. When you gamble, does your bet size come from discipline or emotion? The next emotional manipulation hides in the machines themselves. Not in the numbers, not in the odds, but in the way each machine is built to trigger a different emotional response. Players walk into a casino thinking every machine works the same. But insiders know slot machines fall into two emotional categories: high volatility and low volatility. And unless you understand the difference, your emotions will be pulled in directions you never wanted. High volatility machines are flashy, loud, explosive. They promise huge bonuses and giant jackpots. They create massive emotional highs. But between those highs are long dry stretches that drain your patience and stir frustration. These machines are emotional roller coasters disguised as entertainment. Low volatility machines are quieter, steadier, less dramatic. They give small wins more often. They keep players calm, they keep the session balanced. But because they are not visually dramatic, most players walk right past them. They choose the excitement even when they cannot handle the emotional swings. As ex-dealers, we saw this mistake every night. A player would march straight toward the brightest machine in the room, their eyes locked onto the giant bonus screen. Their pulse rising, they sat down already emotionally invested. And before long they were frustrated, chasing, or exhausted. Meanwhile, a calm player quietly sat at a play machine in the corner, playing steady and leaving ahead. Smart players use a simple scouting method before sitting down. It takes less than 3 minutes. But it keeps the emotions under control from the very start. Step 1. Watch the machine for 1 minute before you sit. If it goes 10 spins without a hit, it is probably high volatility. If it pays small amounts every few spins, it is low volatility. Choose based on your bankroll and your emotional state. Step 2. Look at the pay table. Flashy machines with huge top prizes usually hide long dry streaks. Simple machines with straightforward payouts usually treat you more fairly. Step 3. Test the machine with a small sample. Put in $10 or $20. If it gives nothing back in the first few spins, walk away without hesitation. Never let hope convince you to stay when the machine is clearly cold. Imagine this scenario. You walk up to two machines side by side. One is roaring with animations and million-dollar jackpots. The other sits quietly with modest payouts. Most players choose the flashy machine because it feels more exciting. But the disciplined player chooses the machine that behaves well, not the one that looks exciting. Because the emotional traps start long before the first spin. And machine selection is your first chance to break free from them. There are 3 insider secrets that almost no casual player ever learns. These secrets do not change the odds. They change your awareness. They protect your emotions before the casino ever gets a chance to control them. And once you understand them, you start seeing the floor the same way ex-dealers do. Secret 1. The room follows your energy. Most players think the casino overwhelms them. But the truth is that the casino mirrors whatever emotion you walk in with. If you walk in excited, the room amplifies the excitement. If you walk in stressed, the room intensifies the stress. If you walk in tired, the room drains you faster. Smart players only play when they feel balanced. They do not gamble after an argument. They do not gamble when they are exhausted. They do not gamble when they feel pressure to win. They treat emotional stability like part of the strategy because it is. Secret 2. Casinos reward calm behavior. This is something ex-dealers notice constantly. Calm players last longer. They make better decisions. They avoid emotional swings. And because they stay longer without rushing, the staff recognizes them as steady guests. These players often receive better comps, better service, better treatment, not because they spend more, but because they move through the casino with controlled energy instead of chaotic energy. Calm behavior creates a better relationship with the floor than loud or reckless behavior ever will. Secret 3. The biggest advantage you have is your exit timing. Casinos manipulate emotions to keep you inside as long as possible. They want you to feel like you are one spin away. They want you to feel like the next win will solve everything. They want you to lose track of how long you have been sitting. But smart players use the opposite strategy. They decide their exit before they start playing. They set time limits. They set win limits. They set loss limits. They treat leaving as a skill instead of a defeat. And because of that, they walk out in control while everyone else walks out drained. These 3 bonus secrets are not about the machine. They are about your mind, your energy, your awareness. Once you master these, the casino loses its grip long before you touch the spin button.